taking a few moments to check in, finding a comfortable way to sit or stand. I'm standing actually, just for ease of moving my camera around. Take a few moments to settle yourself down into your body. Settle your body down onto the mat or the bolster or blankets or whatever it is you're sitting on. And as you feel that very physical sense of settling, the body releasing with gravity, so you're not fighting gravity, and yet at the same time, noticing that even though some of the heavier places in the body are dropping, like the pelvis and the legs, there's also a natural ascension of the spine that occurs in those of us who are bipedal. So see if you can elongate your spine right up through the crown of the head. Let the shoulders relax back. Try not to sacrifice alignment. So placing the ears above the shoulders and the shoulders over your hips so you don't have that sense of that you are tilted forward. Lose the tilt. And then as you're ready, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And see if you can sense or connect with a sense of curiosity now. I've been calling these lately the CCCs of yoga. The CCCs of our yogic curriculum or of yoga mindset. What are the CCCs of having a yoga mindset? So curiosity would be one. Oh, there she comes. Connecting with curiosity. Curiosity about the body. What's new in your body this evening? Connecting with a sense of compassion. Self-compassion, perhaps. A sense of being on your own side. Wishing yourself good wishes. May I be well. May I accept myself just as I am. Connect with a sense of calm. And even if you are feeling not calm on the outside or in your brain, as you settle in, perhaps sensing, connecting with a deep sense of calm. Connect with courage. When I just say the word courage, it makes me want to take a deep breath. Connect with centeredness. Reining your attention or your focus in if you're feeling scattered. Connect with clarity. Connect with creativity. Your very human-centered desire and ability to create things, to create in the face of problems or adversity. creating solutions. And that all of these CCCs of yoga are what is central. They are central to your true self, your true nature. However, each of those states of being arise in you, it will be unique for you. But we all possess and can connect with our CCCs of true self. So I'm just going to read you a quote from the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, one of the primal yogic texts. Out of compassion for them, I dwell in their hearts to destroy the darkness born of ignorance with the shining lamp of self-knowledge. Now the I in that statement, the speaker of that statement, is the self, your Atman, the Atman that resides within you, takes refuge in you, expresses itself through you as you are in the world of the world. So this is the expression of the Atman, is that it is there. Its possibility exists for clarity, creativity, centeredness, courage, calm, compassion, curiosity to be expressed through you with your own individual take on that. So let's all turn on our lamps, illuminate our lamps of self-knowledge through this practice of yoga. So find the breath and just breathe in and out through the nose, relaxing the belly forward as you inhale. Allowing the spine to elongate as you inhale. Letting the breath allow you to journey in more deeply into that space within, wherein lies truth, from where truth speaks. So let the breath take you there. Just this breath. And this breath. Because there's nowhere else that you need to be right now, except here, in this body, this breath, in this very moment of now. All right, and then as you're ready, you can slowly bring your hands together in front of the heart, bowing your head. And honoring self. And so it begins, the practice of yoga. And then as you're ready, you can release your hands and open your eyes. Okay, so you can go ahead and stand. Hopefully that's visible for you. And let's open up the calves with some calf rolls or foot rolls over a blanket, a rolled up blanket, or you can do, I'm using another sticky mat on the floor that I'm going to put my feet over. You can do it with 1 foot over the rolled blanket, 1 foot over, or if the balance is okay, and it probably has to do with how high the prop is that you're using, how big it is. But if you can do both feet at the same time, that's kind of a nice experience. You can interlace your hands behind your back, drawing your backs of the hands down toward the floor, letting the shoulders roll back. So as you're opening your calves here, trying to focus on the calves opening, we also want to do it without locking your knees. So if you notice that you're kind of throwing your knees back, pushing them back, and your knees are locking, especially if you hyperflex your knees like I do, bend your knees a little bit. Just kind of bend them, point them forward just a little, and then press down through the heels. You might notice a different experience in your calves when you don't just lock the knees in place. Sometimes I like to open up the backs of my knees just because I hyperflex, and it's just a nice opening there for the backs of my knees. But let's try to focus on deepening the calf stretch here, not just the back of the knees. So another way that you could do this is over a foot over a block. Foot can go up on the block. And again, trying to keep the knee slightly bent. This is also going to increase circulation in the sole of your foot, in the plantar fascia. And then if you are doing this 1 foot at a time, you might want to exchange now, switch feet. So when you get the ball of the foot, if you're using a block, if you get the ball of the foot up on the block and you try to get the heel to the floor, it might cause the block to tilt, come to the corner. That's okay. I don't think the block will mind. So you can also, you probably can't really see my upper body here, so I'll take my screen up. So as you are interlacing your hands behind the back, you can also take your shoulders back and open the throat and point your chin up toward the ceiling. Another breath here. Okay, so when you're ready, you can release your arms and take your foot off of the block. Okay, so we're going to use the chair. I'm going to go ahead and just use it next since we're standing. And we're going to break down or deconstruct Parshvottanasana. So this is a standing forward, standing posture with a twist involved, a turn, and but we're going to deconstruct it and make it a little bit safer for the knee. So people with knee issues tend to like to do this pose so much because of the right angle that you have to have at the knee. So you can get your chair. I'm going to put a little sticky mat on the top of mine. You can do that if you want. Put your sticky mat over the chair so your foot doesn't slide. And you're just going to step up, going to kind of stand sideways in relation to your chair, to the seat of the chair. Also, if you're worried that the chair might slide out from under your foot, kind of butt it up to a piece of furniture or a wall. I have mine against the wall, although I was doing this yesterday with just in the middle of the room. So you're going to take one foot up, so watch the balance. And then as you're coming into the pose, there's a side kind of lean, so you can move sideways and just get your elbow to rest on top of right above the knee on the thigh there. And then take the other arm up into the air and start to really turn the belly. You can turn a little bit more. So if your left foot is on the chair, then your belly is twisting towards the right. And then you can take your arm up, and you can even kind of arch or reach for the wall or reach for the space overhead. And so the inside of the thighs and the groin is very open. There's that nice twist happening, and you're also elongating, lengthening the spine. You can turn and look up under your arm if you like. Turn your head, look up under your arm, reach for the sky. Take another breath. And then move back, shift back into your standing leg, and carefully take your foot up off the chair. Okay, so now we're going to do the other side. So I'm just going to move my chair over here so I can still see you. You can still see me. So again, standing sideways in relation to the chair to begin. And then go ahead and step your foot up. So now the toes are pointing toward the back of the chair, right? So they're not, you're not trying to have still parallel feet. So that, remember, this is Parshvakonasana. And you want to then take the arm elbow to the leg. Take your arm up. So hopefully you're remembering that in any of these right angle poses, your knee is stacked up over the ankle so that you're not pushing the knee ahead or more forward. This is not good for the knee when you're doing this. It doesn't like that. It actually strains the ligaments and the cartilage in the knee when you have it come forward like that. So just stack it up right over the ankle. No turning, no twisting of the knee, but reaching with the arm, and sort of forget about the knee for a minute. Reach up to the ceiling with the arm, the hand, opening up the whole side of the body. And then if it feels right, you can kind of arch, hinge from the top of the leg. Keep the twist, the belly turning, happening, and turning to look up under your arm. Breathe. One more breath. And moving in reverse. All right. Then you can step up off your chair. All right, so now let's use the chair again, and we're going to do some chair dogs into chair chaturangas. So I'm going to just leave mine out in the middle of the room because it'll be easier for you to see what I'm going to do. But you can put yours up against the wall or some furniture. So you might remember these. So you're going to take your hands to the seat of the chair and step back into this modified dog pose. So with the hands along sort of the side of the chair, the side of the seat of the chair, you'll notice a different sensation in the upper back than you would if your hands were kind of flat on top of the seat of the chair. So try to take your hands to the side of the chair. So here you can scoot your feet back a little bit more if you can. And see if you can bend the knees a little bit. Bend the knees and then try to take the sit bones up. And then to come into Chaturanga, you're just going to kind of glide forward until your shoulders are stacked up over your hands. And your back is flat. So you are indeed the plank. The fabled plank. Let the abdominal muscles engage. And then when you feel like it's the right time and you need to kind of have a repose, then you come back into dog pose. So refreshing your experience with some postures. When you come back into dog pose, you can allow for the knees to bend a little bit. I'm just going to move my chair because it's sliding a little bit. So take a couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, you can one more Chaturanga. So gliding forward a little, move slow. So stacking up the shoulders over the hands again. Trying to keep the back flat so you're not bowing the hips in like a back bend. This is Chaturanga. It's not upward dog or Bhujangasana. Okay, take one more breath. And then you can push back. Push back, push back. Stay for a couple breaths in chair dog. Sometimes I think chair dog is harder than downward dog, more difficult. Maybe because it's more honest or something. So go ahead and step up with your feet. Step closer to the chair, in closer to the chair. Go ahead and bend your knees so you're doing a chair pose. Ha ha ha. Your own Utkatasana. You can take the arms up. Sitting in the air behind you, take your sit bones back. Take the arms out to the side. Arms up. And then go ahead and use the legs and the butt muscles to come to stand. And then hands to the heart. Honoring yourself. Okay. So now we can use the chair for some standing forward bends. So you can let your feet be wide. They don't have to be too wide, just wide enough. You can clasp your hands in front of you, interlace the fingers, and kind of turn the arms, turn the hands so the palms are now facing out and in front of you. You can take the arms overhead that way. I know you can't see my arms. Here, I'll show you my arms. So you're interlacing the hands, taking them forward and then overhead. And then you can take your arms down. And then we'll hinge forward. Hands to the seat of the chair, arms straight. My chair has a flips its lid every so often when you hear that click sound. Sorry about that. So as you fold into this forward bend, let the knees bend and point forward. And so if you're someone who can hinge completely, I think a few of you can, and still keep a reasonable lumbar spine curve, you can take your hands to the floor and your head can come and rest on the seat of the chair. So you might have to pull it in closer to you. But if you're still working on the backs of your legs, definitely build up the seat of the chair. Remember that you can build your architecture. You can make a tower. You can fold your arms and rest your head on your folded arms. Either way, it's all good. Closing your eyes. All right, so take another breath here. And you can start to push yourself up. Step the feet in closer together, step in closer to the chair as well, so that you come up safe. And to come up into another baby Utka, Utkatasana, right? Bending the knees and rising. Okay. So let's do one more prasarita, this time without the chair, and this time with interlacing your hands behind your back. Or using a strap, you can hold on to the belt if that's more beneficial for you. So then when you're ready, we're going to fold from the hips. So your feet might need to be a little closer together since you're relying only on your legs for balance and not your arms on the chair, not using them. Taking the arms up and overhead. Just breathing in and out through the nose. Relax your face, facial muscles. Unfurrow the brow. Smile. Upside down smile. One last breath here. All right, then you can bring the hands back to the back of the hips. Bend your knees a little bit so that you're sitting again in the space behind you, in that air behind you. It's like an air chair. And then go ahead and use your legs to rise. Step your feet back together. So take a moment to stand in Tadasana. Use it as a, check in. How are you standing now after a few postures? Just standing with your arms out to the side, balancing the weight over the heels of the feet. Noticing balance and balance shifting, that perpetual sway of the body. So your toes, standing in Tadasana, your toes are pointing straight ahead. The outer edges of your feet are parallel. So look down. Are they parallel? So when you stand in Tadasana, outer edges of the feet parallel, your knees are slightly rolling or turning inward. And that's the natural state of the alignment of the lower leg bones in relation to the knee joint, so that the patella, or the kneecap, actually kind of faces inward, just slightly. It's not like you're pigeon-toed, though. So it's not a huge turning in, like maybe 10 degrees or so. So just looking straight ahead, feeling that lift, lengthening action up through the spine, press down through the heels as you lengthen up through the crown of the head. All right. So let's come down to the floor now. And you can take your bolster. I'm going to, let's do a little turtle. Become a little turtle. You too can become a turtle. I guess you can't see me now. Okay. So taking your legs over the top, or the side rather, of the bolster. My sound effects are starting to arise out of me. So remember that the kind of the roots of the big toes can be touching, but the feet are turning in. Soles of the feet are facing each other, and your knees are wide. So it almost looks like, when you look down at your legs, it almost looks like Baddha Konasana, except your knees are being supported. And then just drape your body over the legs. Allowing the beautiful curve of the back to soften. Closing your eyes. If you like, you can stack up your forearms and rest your head on your forearms. Come back to the breath. So take 2 more full breaths here. And you can start to push yourself back up to an upright sitting position. And take your legs out. All right, so we're going to lie down, and we're going to practice what I've been calling a baby Virasana. So this is for you folks whose either your knees don't have the range of motion to be able to put you in a full Virasana, or your quadriceps have just been so tight that they haven't been able to put you in a full Virasana either. So this is a baby Virasana. And even though if you can do a full Virasana, there's still a lot of benefit to this posture. So you're going to lie on the floor with your knees bent, feet on the floor. And it's kind of like the windshield wiper, you know, that posture that we Bring our legs back and forth. Only one leg is straight, so I'm going to straighten my left leg, and the right knee is bent. And so you can just take your arms straight out like at a T, and you're going to cross the right knee over the left leg. And so the ball of your foot, your right foot, will be kind of be what's pushing the body over. So there's a crossing over, and you're going to lift the right hip up, right pelvis, back of the pelvis up off the floor as well. So you might need to adjust like where the foot is, the ball of the right foot is on the floor. Does it need to come closer to the body, or do you need to push it further away? If the knee, or the hip actually, if the hip socket area feels, if it pinches or you feel a cramp there, then come back up to center and then slide the foot away from you a little bit more. But you can see how, it's focusing on the quads, but also it's focusing on the hip rotators. But it's kind of a healthy, safe way to practice this kind of a movement, safe for the knee. And so you're trying to draw the knee, the bent knee, the right knee, away from its hip. So there's a sense of stretch or elongation of the quadriceps here. So the knee is like you're pointing the knee away from that hip on that side. So just breathe. And rolling back when you're ready. And then you can straighten your first side. You can jiggle your thighs, take your hands to the top of the thighs and just kind of give them a jiggle. So they're really released, fully released before you start again. And then go ahead and bend the other knee, put the foot on the floor, and you're going to do the turn, the twist. It's like a twist. And so pushing off with the ball of the left foot now as you rotate the left leg over the right, and the left hip lifts up off the floor as well. So you remember that you're trying to point the knee, draw it, lengthen it away from the hip. And take 3 more breaths. And letting yourself roll back so that you're resting fully on the back of the pelvis. And you can extend your legs out. So you're lying in Shavasana now. All right, so now we're going to do kind of like a mini or a baby Baddha Konasana. So what you'll be doing here is let's say take your right leg up and put it in Baddha Konasana. You're lying on the floor. And then the left leg, you're going to slide it up, but you're going to keep the foot on the floor. And as you're sliding the heel up on the floor, the knee is going to let the knee bend out to the side until the feet come together. The goal is not, you're not trying to force your knees down toward the floor. Okay, so they're going to be hovering in the air. But once the soles of the feet come together, press the soles of the feet together. And then bring both knees together. Kind of squeeze the thighs, inner thighs together. And then turn the feet so both feet are on the floor now. And then you could either do the same side or you can switch sides. So I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. So I'm going to slide my right leg down while the left comes back down into Baddha Konasana. If that's too confusing, just stick with the first side. So again, then you're sliding the foot up until the feet come together in Baddha Konasana. Yeah, press the feet and then take the knees together and then straighten your leg back out. Slide the foot down on the floor. So the foot never loses contact. The feet never lose contact with the floor. However, they might be turning, you know, from the big toe side to the pinky side, right? So you can go ahead and keep doing that. Sliding the foot up. Whoops, I'm running out of my mat. It's keeping my foot from. Slide the foot up until it meets the other foot. Then press the soles of the feet together, knees come up, feet to the floor, then slide the leg back out, straighten it back out. Other knee goes down. So I know it's a lot of coordination, but a lot of benefit here. So do a few more. And then once you do a few more, then come back to just having your knees bent with your feet on the floor. And then let's do a few where you're taking the feet together in Baddha Konasana and opening up the knees. And again, you're not trying to press your knees down to the floor. And then you're bringing the feet, press the feet, and then the feet are kind of turning towards the big toe mounds as the feet, soles of the feet come down to the floor, and the inner thighs are coming together. So it's like you're opening and closing the legs. So then you can do it again. Let them open up, and then notice the feet turning. So the soles of the feet are facing each other, flat against each other. Knees are open. And then moving in reverse. So now the soles of the feet come to the floor and knees together. Yeah? So do a few more of these. All right, one more. Your inner thighs, your groin muscles might be a little tender tomorrow. So drink lots of water when we're done tonight. Might be that you've been using muscles that you're not used to using. All right. So once you get your knees facing up toward the ceiling, you can kind of just rock or press the back of the pelvis down onto the floor, draw pelvic circles. All right, and you can take your knees up and rock to the side, roll to the side, push yourself up. All right. So let's deconstruct Sukhasana, which is the hip opener, seated, a sitting posture that requires a lot of hip opening. So we're going to deconstruct it a little. So you can lean back, and you're going to slide the front leg forward a bit more. So it's almost like you're getting ready for the 90-90 version of the pigeon, which we will be doing next, actually. So just slide the front leg forward. So for many of you that pigeon is difficult, this is kind of a precursor to it. So a lot of these postures are kind of deconstructions of, I like to think of them as. And if leaning back is, your body has adjusted, you can also try to come forward or sit up, and you can use your arms. You can kind of prop yourself up. So you also might see it as a deconstruction of cow face pose, right? Gomukhasana. So if you feel that sense of a pinching feeling in a muscle, or it's a cramping sensation, it doesn't feel like a stretching sensation, then back up. Come retreat. Or switch sides altogether. A cramping muscle is a scared muscle. All right, so now we're going to switch. So you can bring the leg in, you can exchange the front leg, so put the other leg in front and push it out. So it's like you're opening the gate. Leaning back. Now your knee may not be on the floor. That's okay. Mine's not on the floor. It's sort of hovering. You can make a right angle at the ankle, the front. Actually, both of them could be at right angles, but you can also just release or relax the inside leg. But put a right angle at the ankle of your front foot. And then you can, if you like, you can come forward. All right, so then you can push yourself up. And as promised, let's do a 90-90 version of the pigeon. So as we start out in this, just pay attention to, how it feels on the inside of the knee. And if you like, you could open up a blanket And I'll just do it just to to encourage you to do it so that there's no friction under the knee. So that as you're moving your knee around, sliding it over the surface that you're on, there's less friction if you put something soft under it. And then when you're ready, you're going to fold over. Remember to have something to rest your head on. If you need more than one block, then get more than one block. Be curious. Where does your awareness lie? What's happening now in the body, in this moment? So we can stay for another half a minute or so. All right, so take another breath here. And you can begin to push yourself up. And we're going to switch, exchange. Folding over the front leg again. So take 2 more breaths here. And go ahead and push yourself up. And then we're going to lie on your back again, on the back again. Arms out in a T for a supine spinal twist. So arms out wide, you can bend the knees in, and then go ahead and roll to or twist to one side or the other. And you can flip or slip your fingers in behind your knees to kind of anchor the legs down a little bit more. Just looking up at the ceiling. Releasing with gravity. So not fighting gravity. One more breath here. And then engaging the pelvic floor muscles. Draw the knees back up. And you can straighten yourself out if you got a little cricket. And we'll go ahead and twist to the other side, dropping the knees. Remember, you can put a blanket or a bolster under the legs if the floor seems too far away. Hopefully you did that. Allow the back of the head to be more or less centered on the floor. Facing the ceiling. Face is facing the ceiling. And taking another breath here. Engage the pelvic floor muscles again. Squeeze the butt muscles. Swing the legs, the knees back up to top side. And then go ahead and roll to your side to push up. So let's get a bolster next. And we're going to do a variation of, not Jathara, of Supta Padangusthasana. So usually we do this with a belt, but we're going to use our hands this time. And we're going to wrap the hands in a different place. Place the hands in a different place than we typically do. So you're going to put the hips on top of the bolster. Bend the knees. And then straighten, actually clasp your hands around the back of one of your thighs. So below the knee, kind of in the belly of the thigh there, just kind of clasp your hands around. Clasp the hands together and wrap the hands around the thigh. Okay? And then straighten that leg up. Actually, put the other foot on the floor if you want, if it helps you to be anchored, or you can keep it bent, curled up. It's up to you. So you're just going to straighten the leg now out. And just go to that point where you could feel the back of the leg getting a stretch, feeling the hamstrings, and maybe even the back of the knee. So you're pressing out through the heel, right? Don't point the toes, but press out through the heel as you straighten that leg. So now your knee may not straighten all the way, and that's okay. So you're just kind of going to where that point is that you could feel,
Hamstrings opening, lengthening, making space for your hamstrings. Another breath. Really pointing the heels away. All right, and then you can bring that leg down. You can revolve your ankles when you land. All right, then we're going to do the other side. So clasp your hands, fingers together, each hand. Put the hands around the back of your other thigh. And press you can actually notice that as soon as you just start to point with the knee bent, kind of the knee kind of dropping down towards the body, just start to point the heel, press through the heel. So it doesn't seem like you need to have much range of motion at all. Pressing through the heel. So my knee is still slightly bent. And I can feel all kinds of space, all kinds of warmth and stretch happening in the back of my leg. So we'll stay for another 3 breaths, 3 deep breaths. And then when you're ready, you can bend the knees. All right. So you can take your feet to the floor. Engage your pelvic floor muscles and your glutes. And raise your hips up. And push the bolster out from under you. You can keep squeezing your butt muscles. Your glutes, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then lowering your hips. As you lower your hips, keep the glutes engaged. And then you can roll to your side. And coming to push yourself up. Okay, so we're going to spend a little bit of time exploring Virasana now. Just a seated Virasana. So if you know that you have trouble sitting, with both of your knees in this kind of a position, you'll probably want to get a couple of blocks and have a chair. So, okay. So also make sure that you have a blanket, underneath your lower legs. So if you are, I'm trying to find a blanket in my house here. If you have tight ankles also, and you need to support that angle, then you will want to have a blanket to be kneeling on so that your feet can come off the back edge, right? So put that in front of your chair. So we can start off with the toes curled under for Virasana. Let me bring the screen up just a bit. We can start off with the toes curled under like your feet are in downward dog toes or downward dog feet, right? So if this is difficult, That's one of the things that the chair is for, so that you can come and lean forward on the chair. But we're still trying to get the sit bones to drop. So there's a sense of the pelvis being heavy, dropping here. And for those of you who have struggle with the angle at the knee, if the range of motion just is not there, and actually I've been doing it this way with the block, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to show you the back view actually. Is you have your, so this is really a Vajrasana, because the feet are still underneath the body, but you take a block and you put it on top of the Achilles tendon of both of the feet, and then you can sit there. And you can have one block or you can have two blocks. So with the downward dog toes, feet curled under, it's a little bit of a different relationship that you have, first of all, with your ankles, right? Those of you who have tight ankles. So again, you can do two. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, since I'm short, yeah, I can't quite get two under me. So toes are curled under. And again, if you need to, so I'm going to turn and face my chair now, so you know what's going on back there. So toes are curled under. So if that's still a little difficult, you can be leaning forward, so you don't have so much weight on your toes, right? You can be leaning on your chair. Chair can give you all kinds of support here, and you're still feeling that there's stretch going on here, right? In the quad, the front of the quads. So the knee is in a good place. Knees, both knees. Yeah, doing okay? So if you think you'd like to, well, everyone can come up and take a break. Kind of come up upright. So if you think you'd like to, you can now take the legs wide, and you're going to sit between the feet. So again, you could be sitting on one block, two blocks. How many blocks do you need to sit on? And again, if it feels like there's too much pressure on the tops of the feet, the ankles, then lean forward on the chair. Use the chair to help support you, to put some of your weight on the chair. And if you like, you can start to slowly lower yourself down. And remember that you can do that. You can kind of take your hands to the knees and draw or pull, massage, kind of rub the skin of the knee, the kneecap. And also, when you get to a point where you're kind of pretty much on the floor, and I think a few of you can do this, a couple of you can do this, then you can lift the knee up, actually up off the floor. And this stretches the ligament right underneath the kneecap, the patella, I can't think what it's called right now, that attaches the kneecap, or the tibia to the patella. Well, it doesn't really stretch it, but it releases it. You can't really stretch ligaments. It's not a good idea. But it releases it. And you can always lean back, day at the beach, and you can always put a block back in there if it's too intense. My foot just started complaining. If your feet cramp, curl the toes under again. I really like this variation of putting the block on top of the Achilles tendons. And you can even massage take your fingertips or your knuckles to depends on how far away from your feet you are, I guess. You can massage the plantar fascia on the sole of the foot. So you kind of
gives you something to do for another few moments, and you can kind of forget about the knees or forget about what's going on in the quadriceps. Give them another couple moments to be stretched. Yeah. And so then if you like, the last thing, you can interlace your hands, and it doesn't matter whichever variation you're in, you decide to do. Interlace the fingers in front of you and take your arms overhead. Looking straight ahead, noticing alignment, smile, say cheese. You can turn, twist, and come back to center. Twist to the other side. Front and center. All right, and then you can bring your arms down. All right. So let's set up for Supta Baddha Konasana. So something that's a little bit more familiar. So setting up so we can carry out some Brahmari breathing. So that means you need to be a little bit lower, closer to the floor. So perhaps just having your back on a bolster will be enough. Do roll up a couple blankets now to put underneath your legs. So you're going to support the fact that the knees are going to be up off the ground. Support them with the blanket or two, one for each leg, and then put a pillow or something on top of the bolster for your head so that your head is higher than your heart. Feet together. And again, you can massaging your plantar fascia, the soles of the feet. All right, so go ahead and stick your blankets under the legs and recline back. Probably hear my heater, my furnace on. So let yourself relax, release with gravity, letting everything just drop. So whenever you're ready, on an exhalation, you can begin to hum, practicing Brahmari, the humming bee breath, allowing for some space between the teeth, between the upper and lower jaw, so that you're not pressing the teeth together. Perhaps even drawing the vibration, sensing the vibration in the back, in the roof of the mouth and in the throat, but also in the head, behind the space behind the eyes, inside the ears, inside the temples, deep in the brain.
as you change the pitch, the tone of each of your hums, notice where you receive that vibration. So hum your last note. And then let your breathing return to have less sound. And just say or sense that all is well. So as you're ready, you can start to slowly bring yourself back. Now, if you would just really like to not move a muscle, you could just simply stretch your legs out, straighten them out in front of you. Take one of those blankets and just cover yourself up. Or if you really would like to finish your practice this evening with a restorative inversion, then go ahead and bring yourself out of this posture and roll to your side. Push yourself up and bring yourself to the wall for Viparita Karani. So you can also cover yourself up with a blanket for Viparita Karani. Don't be afraid to invite some warmth or put socks back on. So taking refuge inside the body and also inside your own illuminating heart. Perhaps with the intention of seeking clarity, perspective beyond the field of our ordinary outer worldly experiences. Try to release the thoughts, letting them go as if they were just part of a stream, letting them float by. And just not getting tangled up in them, not letting them hook you. So you can now slowly start to bring yourself back. You can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, revolve your wrists, revolve your ankles. Slide your feet down the wall or bend the knees and then roll to your side. And then go ahead and
Push yourself up and come to sit. You can take the palms together in front of your heart. Bow your head. This is truth. And remember, you already have everything that you need inside. Namaste. And thank you all. Thank you for being.